Memphis, 1972. Priscilla Presley sat in the darkness of Graceland's master bedroom, a packed suitcase hidden in the closet, and a one-way ticket to Los Angeles folded in her purse. After 7 years of marriage to the king of rock and roll, she'd finally made her decision. Tomorrow morning, while Elvis slept off another late night at the studio, she would take Lisa Marie and disappear. But when Elvis came home that night sober, clear-eyed, and somehow knowing everything changed, what happened in the next 4 hours would either end their marriage forever or save it in ways neither of them expected. This is the conversation that changed everything. Priscilla had stopped crying 3 days ago. That's when she knew it was really over. For months, she'd felt herself becoming invisible in her own home. Elvis would return from Las Vegas or Hollywood. Surrounded by his entourage, the Memphis Mafia, they called themselves, and she'd be just another face in the crowd. She'd tried everything, changing her hair, her clothes, planning special dinners, waiting up until dawn. Nothing worked. The man she'd fallen in love with at 14 in Germany, the man who'd promised her the world, had become a stranger who lived in the same house, but existed in a completely different universe. The final straw came on a Tuesday. Elvis had forgotten Lisa Marie's 4th birthday, not because he was away, but because he was upstairs sleeping while their daughter waited downstairs in her party dress, surrounded by untouched cake and unopened presents. Priscilla had made excuses, sung happy birthday alone, and watched her daughter's face try to hide disappointment that no 4-year-old should have to feel. That night, after putting Lisa Marie to bed, Priscilla sat in their bedroom and made a list. On one side, the reasons to stay. On the other, the reasons to go. The stay side had 3 items: Lisa Marie, the memories of who they used to be, and the hope that things might change. The go side filled an entire page. She called her mother in California. "I'm coming home," she whispered into the phone. "Don't tell anyone. I just need you to find me an apartment, something small, somewhere he won't look." Her mother didn't ask questions. She'd seen this coming for years. Priscilla began her preparations with military precision. She contacted a lawyer discreetly, a woman in Los Angeles, who specialized in high-profile divorces and knew how to keep secrets. She opened a separate bank account. She quietly packed a suitcase with essentials, hiding it behind winter coats Elvis would never touch. She planned her route. She'd drive to the airport, leave the car in long-term parking, and be in California before anyone at Graceland noticed she was gone. She set the date, Friday morning. Elvis would be exhausted from recording sessions all week. He wouldn't wake up until afternoon. By then, she'd be 3 states away. But on Thursday night, something unexpected happened. Elvis came home early, not just early, but before midnight, which hadn't happened in months. And he was alone. No entourage. No hangers-on. No Colonel Parker calling with demands. Just Elvis, standing in the doorway of their bedroom, looking at her with eyes that seemed to actually see her for the first time in years. "We need to talk, Zilla," he said quietly. "I know what you're planning." Priscilla's heart stopped. Her mind raced through possibilities. Had he found the suitcase? Had someone seen her meeting with a lawyer? Had her mother accidentally said something? "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, but her voice betrayed her. Elvis walked slowly into the room, and she noticed things about him she hadn't seen in months. He looked tired, truly tired, not just physically exhausted, but soul-weary. There were new lines around his eyes. His famous jumpsuit was gone. He wore simple jeans and a black shirt. He looked for a moment like the young soldier she'd met in Germany before the world had claimed him. "Linda saw you," he said, referring to one of the Graceland maids. "She was cleaning the closet last week and found your suitcase. She told me because she's worried about you. About us." He sat down on the edge of the bed, keeping distance between them. At first, I got angry. I wanted to confront you right then. But then I realized I got no right to be angry. I got no right to ask you to stay. Priscilla felt something crack inside her carefully constructed armor. She'd prepared herself for many reactions: rage, denial, manipulation, promises he wouldn't keep. But not this. Not honesty. Not accountability. When were you planning to tell me? He asked. I wasn't, she admitted. I was just going to leave. Take Lisa Marie and go while you were sleeping. He flinched as if she'd slapped him. That's what I deserve, isn't it? To wake up and find my family gone. What did you expect, Elvis? The words came out sharper than she intended, but once they started, she couldn't stop them. You're never here. And when you are here, you're not really here. You're surrounded by people who tell you yes to everything, who laugh at all your jokes, who disappear anyone who might tell you the truth. I've become a piece of furniture in this house, a decoration. I dress up, I smile. I play the role of Mrs. Elvis Presley, but you don't see me. You haven't really looked at me in 2 years. I know. Those 2 words, spoken so simply, disarmed her completely. I know I haven't been a husband to you, Elvis continued. I know I missed Lisa Marie's birthday. I know I've let everything that matters slip away while I chase things that don't matter at all. The movies, the shows, the pills to stay awake, the pills to fall asleep. It's all been running away from the one thing I can't face. What's that? Priscilla asked, despite herself. That I don't know who I am anymore, Elvis said, his voice cracking. Everyone wants a piece of the king. Everyone's got expectations. The colonel wants money. The fans want performances. Hollywood wants whatever they want. My daddy wants me to take care of everyone. And somewhere in all of that, I lost Elvis. I lost the guy who fell in love with you. I lost the father Lisa Marie deserves. I lost myself. Priscilla wanted to stay angry. Anger had fueled her plans, given her the strength to pack that suitcase, to buy that ticket. But watching this man this vulnerable, broken version of the invincible Elvis Presley, she felt the anger start to soften into something more complicated. That doesn't fix anything, she said quietly. I know, he replied. But I'm asking you, begging you don't leave tomorrow. Stay. Talk to me. Let me try to explain. Let me try to understand what I need to do. And if, after we really talk, you still want to go, I won't stop you. I'll help you. I'll make sure you and Lisa Marie have everything you need. But please, Scylla, give me tonight. They talked through the night, not the surface-level conversations they'd had for years, the ones about schedules and appearances and what the colonel wanted. Real talk. The kind they used to have in Germany when they were just 2 young people figuring out who they were and what they wanted from life. Elvis started by telling her things he'd never admitted to anyone, about the crushing pressure of being Elvis Presley, about how every decision he made affected dozens of people: his father, his entourage, the band members, their families, everyone who depended on him for their livelihood, about how the pills had started innocently, just something to keep him alert for performances, but had slowly become a way to numb everything he felt. When I'm on stage, I know exactly who I'm supposed to be, he said. The audience tells me. They want the hip swivel, the voice, the danger, the sex appeal. I give them that, and they love me. It's simple. But when I come home, I don't know what you want from me. I don't know how to be a regular husband, a regular father. I never had a normal life, Scylla. I went from being poor in Tupelo to being the most famous person in the world. I skipped all the steps in between. Priscilla listened, and for the first time in years, she heard him really hurt him. But she also knew that understanding his pain didn't erase hers. You want to know what I want? She asked. I want a partner, not an icon. I want someone who asks me about my day, who notices when I get my hair cut, who shows up for his daughter's birthday. I want to be Priscilla, not just Mrs. Presley. I gave up everything to be with you. Elvis, I left my family in Germany when I was a teenager. I lived with your father and grandmother while you were away. I waited for you. I molded myself into what everyone said you needed. And I don't even know who I am anymore either. This admission surprised her. She'd been so focused on Elvis's failings that she hadn't fully acknowledged her own loss of self. She'd been 14 when they met, 21 when they married. She'd never had the chance to figure out who Priscilla was outside of being Elvis's girlfriend, then fiancée, then wife. Tell me, Elvis said, moving closer to her on the bed. Tell me who you are. Tell me what you want. And so she did. She told him about the photography classes she'd been taking in secret, afraid he'd mock her or forbid her from pursuing it. She told him about wanting to do something meaningful, to contribute to the world in her own way. She told him about the loneliness of Graceland, how the mansion that should have felt like a palace felt more like a prison. She told him about watching other mothers at Lisa Marie's school, women who had normal marriages, normal lives, and feeling an envy so intense it hurt. I'm 27 years old, she said. My whole life has been about you. Your career, your needs, your schedule. And I love you. I've always loved you. But I can't keep disappearing. I can't keep being an accessory to your life. Elvis was quiet for a long time. Then he said something that shocked her. What if you didn't have to? What do you mean? What if we changed everything? Not just promises. I know I've broken too many of those. Real change. What if you pursued your photography? What if we set boundaries with the Colonel and the entourage? What if I did fewer films, fewer Vegas runs? What if we actually built a life together instead of you just fitting into mine? Priscilla wanted to believe him, but she'd heard variations of this before, usually after a fight, promises made at 2 a.m. that evaporated by noon. How do I know this time is different? She asked. Elvis stood up and walked to his knitstand. He opened the drawer and pulled out a small notebook, his personal journal, something she'd never seen before. He opened it to a recent page and showed her. The entry was dated 3 days ago, the night of Lisa Marie's birthday. In his handwriting, it read, I failed my daughter today. I failed my wife. I'm failing at the only things that actually matter. The music, the fame, the money, none of it means anything if I lose them. I'm becoming my worst fear, a man who has everything and nothing at the same time. Tomorrow, I talk to Scylla. Tomorrow, I tell the truth. Tomorrow, I start fighting for my family the way I've fought for my career. Priscilla's hands trembled as she held the journal. The sky was turning pink outside the Graceland windows when they finally addressed the real question. Could they actually fix this? Or were they too broken? Elvis made concrete promises. He called the Colonel right then, at 5 a.m, and told him he was canceling the next 2 months of obligations. The Colonel sputtered and threatened, but Elvis held firm, something Priscilla had never heard him do. He told his father, who lived on the property, that the entourage couldn't have free access to the house anymore. This was a family home, and it needed boundaries. He promised to see a doctor about the pills, to get real help, not just another prescription. But Priscilla knew that promises, even sincere ones, weren't enough. I need to see it, she said, not just hear it. I need to see you show up. I need to see you choose us over everything else, not just once, but consistently. Then let's make a deal, Elvis proposed. Give me 3 months. Don't leave tomorrow. Stay for 3 months. If I haven't shown you real change, if I'm still the same man who forgets birthdays and sleeps through family dinners, then I'll help you leave. I'll sign whatever papers you want. I'll make sure you and Lisa Marie are taken care of. But if I can show you I'm serious, that I'm willing to fight for us, then we keep working on this. We build something new. Not the fantasy marriage everyone thinks we have, but a real partnership between two real people. Priscilla thought about the suitcase in the closet, the ticket in her purse, the apartment her mother had found in Los Angeles. She thought about the easy path, just leave, start over, build a life that was entirely hers. But she also thought about the man in front of her, vulnerable and honest in ways he'd never been before. She thought about Lisa Marie, who deserved a father who was present. She thought about the love that had brought them together in the first place, buried under years of neglect, but maybe, possibly, still alive. 3 months, she agreed. But Elvis, I need you to understand something. If this doesn't work, if you fall back into the same patterns, I'm done. I won't keep having this conversation. I won't keep hoping and being disappointed. This is your one chance to save us. I understand, he said. And Scylla? Thank you. Thank you for not giving up on me before I had a chance to stop giving up on us. The next morning, Priscilla unpacked the suitcase. She tore up the plane ticket. She called her mother and told her to cancel the apartment search. And then she waited to see if Elvis would keep his word. Those 3 months changed everything. Elvis cleared the house of hangers-on. He started therapy, real therapy, with a psychologist who specialized in addiction and famed trauma. He cut his schedule in half. He showed up for family dinners. He took Lisa Marie to the zoo, to the park, on daddy-daughter dates that made her light up in ways Priscilla hadn't seen before. He asked Priscilla about her photography, looked at her work, encouraged her to pursue it seriously. It wasn't perfect. There were setbacks. There were nights when the old patterns tried to reassert themselves. But the difference was that now, when problems arose, they talked about them. They fought sometimes real fights, not cold silences, and then they worked through them. Priscilla never told Elvis this, but she kept that torn plane ticket in her drawer for the entire 3 months. A reminder of how close they'd come to losing everything. A reminder of what they were fighting for. On the 91st day, she took the pieces of the ticket and burned them in the fireplace. Elvis watched her do it, understanding the symbolism. We're really doing this, he said. We're really going to make it. We're really going to try, she corrected. Every day. That's all we can promise. And for a while longer than anyone expected, they did. Priscilla and Elvis's marriage ultimately didn't last forever. They divorced in 1973, just a year after this pivotal conversation. But something changed after that night. They became co-parents who genuinely cared for each other. They remained friends until his death. And both of them later said that those months after the conversation were some of the best times of their marriage. The lesson isn't that love conquers all. It's that real love requires honesty, effort, and the courage to fight for what matters. What do you think saved them, even temporarily? Was it the honesty? The concrete changes? Or something else? Share your thoughts below and tell us about a time when one conversation changed everything in your relationship.